One of the things that we feel that makes us different and perfect for this project is we have a global firm that we come from many different places and a lot of different perspectives that bring different ideas to the table. And even more importantly to that, we've also worked in many places. So we kind of understand the problems that happen globally that are different than just kind of the boxes. And if you've seen us before, we were there for the kickoff of the lunar space scraper. So this is kind of our firm dynamics. We look at us as a collaborative, not really roles of authority, but roles of encouragement. We have weekly meetings with the entire team to kind of express ideas and make sure everyone's heard, everyone's happy, everyone's feeling that there is an atmosphere for good ideas. It's kind of like a workshop atmosphere. And then, but within that, we do have our leaders. With this team, we also have meetings, and then we also have meetings that break down within the groups, kind of when executive decisions need to be made, they can. And if people have problems, they have someone to go to, and there's people that are held accountable.
To build off a little bit of what Chantal was saying, you'll notice that the breakup of our group is most of our people are down here in the design and graphics group, and we believe this is the most effective way of creating a really flexible team where challenges can be met head on, personnel can be reapportioned for whatever challenges we're meeting.
So, a little bit about sort of what we stand for and what we're trying to do here. So number one, what is good for us is good for you. So what we mean by that is, first of all, that we're sort of expanding from mostly an architectural discipline and trying to get into other fields. So we consider this this database that we're being asked to do like a sort of a signature addition to our portfolio, and we're really excited to get started on it. And obviously we take an enormous amount of pride in what we do, and we just think that we'd be able to deliver something great. So, as you know, most of us are currently still undergoing a graduate program right now, as well as having, so that means we all have current projects, but we have sort of an efficient management structure that's going to allow us to divide and conquer these tasks, as well as meet collaboratively as far as our brainstorming sessions. And we basically transformed ourselves into a high volume output firm, and we're really, we're ready to go. That's how we prefer it. We like the fast-paced lifestyle, I guess. And obviously, in addition to us being the fact that we're still involved in education really means that this, in addition to this is not just an afterthought for us. We're looking to learn from this as well, and we think that the development of these case studies is something that's going to essentially give us back to the educational community that we're just coming from. And another thing so we're proud to serve our clients, and meeting the client's needs is our first priority, but in addition to that, we like to take it a step further, and we like to sort of push our clients back and challenge them, and in some cases educate them when we feel that maybe the entire scope of the project needs to be rethought, and maybe stepping outside our boundaries of just the dedicated task that was allotted to us. And we think that the sort of final goal and working with the client as a team rather than a boss or something like that is really the right way to make things great happen. And then 6 years strong. So all of us at USG, we've been working together, studying together. We've been in studios, we've had different jobs for 6 years now, and basically now we're all friends, and it's really just led to a fantastic environment where people are not afraid to speak up when they don't agree with something, and it's something we're also really proud of, and we think it's something we can really leverage to bring this final product.
So why are we all here? The project that we see, the scope that we were given, is really a pretty exciting one. A global online resource, the encouragement, selection, and dissemination of architectural case stories with the greatest relevance to the most pressing challenges facing young professionals in contemporary practice. Why is a team like USG most aptly suited for a project like this is because we are young professionals. We are the exact people that a database like this would serve to benefit more than anyone else. Whether you are a student or a professional in the field, we all know that there are a lot of shortcomings with the current state of case studies. We all know that they're not all that useful. We've probably spent many years studying the very successful buildings of the past, given only the details that glaze over the real challenges that occurred to show the final product. We don't think this is really the best way to do it. To give a little example of that, let's look at the current state of case studies. USG recently underwent a project where we tried to evaluate a bunch of different case studies across the globe, spanning a 4,500-year spectrum. And before that, we even took a look at some case studies from more contemporary history. So every team member, from the client to the designers and builders, were working for the common good of this tower. And members agreed in the beginning to make this job profitable and a success. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Well, I should hope so. That's certainly the case with every project, isn't it? One of these lines was actually taken from an AIA-accredited case study that we studied to learn from the process of building a building. Also from the case study, personnel from all disciplines worked to break down the perceived barriers, stereotypes, and fear about each other, resulting in higher socialization and trust in and among the participants. This is great. Certainly we all hope for this in our projects, but certainly this isn't valuable for the learning experience. So that being the current state of case studies, we think we can do better. More importantly, we know how. We know that case studies should be independently commissioned. It doesn't make sense for students to be doing these while working for the firm they're purportedly studying. They should be searchable, sortable, and up to date. There's no reason that in today's digital age, where the internet controls our lives basically, that we shouldn't have a resource online for the easy access to these things, where we can find what we're looking for and use it to our advantage in our current projects. Well-designed and maintained online resource. We have some of the best designers in the field working for USG today, and we know that we can take our knack for design, bring it to this resource, and make it something that's exciting and really accessible for everyone. Globally accessible and universally utilizable. This means that not only students and universities will benefit from this, but real practicing architects will too. And we hope that at the end of this project, we can come up with a new standard for teaching practice with experience. The age of case studies as glossy marketing tools will be over, and people will be able to use these to truly benefit the work they're trying to do. Now, to talk a little bit why we're best at this project, I'm going to hand it over to Dan.
So the real question, I guess, is for you is why us? And I mean, the real reason is number one that we are architects. I mean, this is what we do. I mean, you could probably hire a software engineering firm to develop this database and maintain it for you, but I really don't think that they would have the insights that we do into, you know, what makes these useful, how would these be used by students and young professionals. We've lived these case studies. We know how these projects work. We know how things go bad, and it's something that we want to get better at, and we want the whole field to get better at. I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about why we become architects in the first place, and one of the things, I mean, there's a lot of different answers to that, but one of the things we can all agree on is because we care. You know, we care more than just, number one, making money. We also care about, you know, more than just the fame of it all. I mean, we want these buildings to come out well. You know, we're worried about the environment. We're worried about the community that this building's being built in. We try to be the voice of reason in that meeting where the developer's shouting one thing and the client's shouting another. So that's really just one of the things that makes us really fit for this project. So it's common practice, us, in all our studio classes, and all our jobs, we undergo precedent analyses. We're basically accustomed to this type of research. This is standard practice for us. So while something of this scale, a collection of these case studies is, you know, a massive undertaking, it's something that it's really in our skill set, and we think that we could do a great job at it. We also have the capabilities for web design and development in-house. You know, we have a group of people that have done this before, that maintain websites, they've built databases, and we think that if we could sort of get some of that technological experience within our firm rather than hiring an outside consultant. It's something we could deliver a much more integrated product at the end.
Now I'd like to take a look at basically how we work. So we're accustomed to fast-paced projects, and we have staff on hand who are eager to get started. And basically the fast-paced projects is with a 30-day timeline, we feel completely comfortable with that. We're used to that, and we feel that we can get an excellent product out in that allotted time period. And we schedule team meetings to coordinate internally as well as with our partners overseas. And I think this will help us work together with OE in those meetings where it's kind of a workshop environment where everyone can be heard and we can take these ideas and bring them to fruition. We have a flexible firm structure to meet new challenges as they arise. Basically how we're kind of set up as not roles of authority but encouragement, and we have kind of just a base of designers that we can separate to do tasks basically any way we see fit. We're also all kind of multi-talented in things that we know how to do, so we feel that we're good for that. And our firm's cooperative profit sharing encourages on-budget, on-time projects. The profit sharing further goes with our role of collaboration where everyone's ideas are seen equally. We're all part of the firm, we all have kind of a feeling that this is us, this is who we are, and we want to present ourselves as well as possible. And then history and experience with integrated project delivery ensures adaptability. So, I mean, we are architects, normally we work for clients on buildings and stuff, but we've also worked on other things. We've done consulting for delivery methods, and we're comfortable working with any type of client on any type of project, and we feel that we can produce something that everyone will be happy with and that will be helpful for many people. So that's our, we are USG.
Does anybody have any questions?
So I'm interested in top holiday design and two things you said stand out with. First is you talked about a fast delivery of projects, and secondly you talked about client service. There are multiple offices worldwide that do that kind of stuff, but it means their end product is not beautiful, it's somewhat compromised. As architects, you have to be the ones that are in the driving seat. If clients are not particularly sophisticated, most of them are not, and often what they, in my experience, what they ask for isn't what they actually want or need. Give them what they want. They're not satisfied, and the end product is inferior. So, how do you guys actually take the lead in terms of leading the client, helping the client to develop a brief, a program that is more what they're after, and as well, how do you convince them that the great projects take a long time to design and build? They don't have them like that stuff. How do you push back on the client in terms of timelines?
Well, the reason, I put an emphasis on that timeline is really because, we believe in professionalism, we believe in, like I said, meeting the client needs, but I also made a point about sort of pushing back a little bit and not being afraid, essentially, to step up and, challenge them as to what their original goals even were. So I guess, as architects, we're trained to break things down into what the real core components of it are, and then address the solution sort of rationally and logically. And I guess it's not always easy to communicate with a client who doesn't necessarily have the same interests as you and has a entirely different background, and is not trained in the same way that we are to see the big picture. But it's sometimes it's just a little bit of persistence, and hopefully our sort of collective passion and energy is something that can be recognized, and we found can be rather infectious, and really just really just not have an oppositional environment in these types of meetings and really just have us all working together.
What are the key, you talked a lot about the synergy between professional practice and education. What are those key skill sets that you learn within the academic environment that are transferable to how a project is actually conceived and delivered? I'm not talking about design, but all the other aspects of a project.
Well, I think we can say pretty safely that we're all really experienced with time management, certainly with having gone through grad school pretty recently and undergrad. All of our employees are very well trained in design. They've got a really strong set of skills in terms of production, and they've got a real passion about producing a high quality product. Beyond that, all of our clients, or rather our employees, have worked in firms previously and have come to us with a high level of experience.
I mean, really just the studio culture. I mean, you know, we haven't spent a lot of time at other schools, and we don't necessarily know how things work, but you know, it's always been amazing to be here a few days before grade, and even when someone may be just totally screwed, but he knows, but he gets asked for help, and you watch him leave his desk and go, and you know, teach someone how to use this software program just because they know that they can help. It's actually pretty amazing to watch how people can be sort of selfless in that way, and you know, in the end, we're kind of all in this together. And I mean, I've never really felt extraordinarily competitive against our students. You know, it's been pretty great so far. And like I said, we've gone through this as a class, and we think that bringing that to the professional environment with this same group could be really powerful.
How's your workspace set up?
Well, currently we have 15 desks to share amongst both of these firms. But we've actually sort of been utilizing other spaces for meetings, things like that, in other buildings. But in general, we tend to sit in a sort of circle when we're brainstorming. And whoever has an idea can either stand up or just, you know, it's pretty sort of like we throw everything out there and then sort of see what sticks and what catches, and then that's how we tend to organize ourselves.
Very collaborative, certainly. We have brought to the firm the same culture that Dan was talking about from the studio, so open desks, really easily accessible people.
And your principals in the same workspace area as designers?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we're trying to emphasize is that us being principals is really not a position of authority. It's really just a sort of a little bit of a division of tasks. You know, it's all stuff that we came up with these positions collectively because we wanted to sort of have niches that we're good at, and then, you know, some people that are a little bit more comfortable managing, and some people that are a little bit more comfortable doing, you know, sort of nitty-gritty tasks, I guess. But I mean, in the end, we're all at a table working together, and there's no real discrimination between who's in charge. I mean, we're all getting paid the same amount as well. It's really not a hierarchical thing.
How do you address weaknesses in your presentation? You said all of your staff are highly skilled and they're flexible, but the reality is that some people are better at other tasks than other people, and in the professional practice world, offices that I've worked in, weaknesses they're not necessarily helpful. Focusing on people and what the strengths are.
Sure. So we actually addressed this head on from the beginning. We knew this is a big challenge with a lot of projects. So one of the first things we did, without really knowing the details of any project, we set up a time for the entire group to meet on a weekly basis, most meetings. And from there we try to divide tasks based on what's needed. So we've got that really large group of designers and graphics, which can be broken up and coordinated into whatever size groups is needed. And from there we've associated leadership positions within them to deal with problems as they arise on a smaller level. And that leadership group meets with the principals on a more regular basis to talk about larger picture, things that might be on the table, as well as deal with any conflicts.
In addition to that, you know, sort of first large internal meeting, when we received your letter, we basically said that, we don't know a lot about this project yet. We know what it's about, and we're obviously excited to get started on it. But we essentially came into the first pass of structure on how we plan to work. But we made it very clear that, as soon as these things start rolling, there's no sort of salary that people are trying to achieve, and there's no certain level of credit that's going to be, like we're a team, and we're also very comfortable restructuring ourselves as the project moves forward.
On what educational systems we have in place in general,
Educational systems.
yeah, do you have like, outside seminars, or do you send people for help with technical detailing or other weaknesses that they have?
We certainly do. We have a network of people who are knowledgeable about their skill sets. We've also got a graphics trainer who teaches classes bi-weekly, I believe, to anyone who wants to join them. So we've got certainly a good group of people to educate on hand when needed.
And are you having outside consultants assisting with the whole, with the web and you're saying?
For the actual production of the online tool?
Yes.
Yes, we do. We have consultants that we've worked with in the past, and one in particular who we plan to use in a lot of different ways.
And what's the one of those consultants currently? Is that I ask because there are web designers, there are other individuals out there that can actually, they build websites, but that's not what they're about. They're problem solvers, and they understand how to get very different groups of people all on one particular website, and making those things. There's magic behind actually making internet websites and so work properly.
So one of the things that we're fortunate to have is some members of our firm that are experienced in web design and sort of database development. So we're really hoping that their sort of insights would lead us to picking, consultants that, because they have their own network of people that they've met throughout their experience, and we think that having that insight is going to lead us to hiring the right man for the job when it comes down to it.
In professional practice, we leave architecture school, we're all the next Frank Gehry or Norman Foster or something. The reality is to learn and to get better and get more efficient and more strategic in the way one operates. You go to other disciplines outside the immediate architecture circle, and you learn from these people. Often they're not directly within the industry, but they can give you a unique take or spin on how to actually do things and manage things.
I mean, one thing I could pretty much guarantee is that almost no one in here has only had a job in an architecture firm. Maybe we should submit a second resume about the jobs that everyone's held that wasn't in an architecture firm to really show sort of where we've been in the world. I mean, I know there's people who have worked in construction, which obviously is a related field, but is an entirely different world. In addition to people just working in hospitality, I mean, we've really been all over. And one of the things that they've always emphasized in our architectural training is that, you don't necessarily have to be an architect to leverage this, and, people have taken advantage of that, I think.
Well, I'd be interested in seeing a list of qualifications or non-architecture skill sets that individuals that have worked outside the field of architecture can actually bring to the table, because it's often those very different skill sets that help you think about a project in a new way.
Completely agree.
We talked about
I think that's an excellent place to leave it. We said we were going to finish by 10. We got a little bit delayed in the middle, so we have limited time now. I'm very sorry. But submit their organizational nature or chart or sort of diagram, if you would come back with that, so that we could get that to Celeste.
Sounds great.
Okay, so thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.